All right, this is the second part of my final graphics video report. Because my final scene didn't have a lot of like pre-made models and didn't use all the shaders, I have another scene called Final Additional Requirements. So this is it. It's just like really boring and looks like one of our demos, but I just wanted to consolidate everything. Oh, and I also have the multi-mesh stuff going on because none of my models in my final scene were multi-mesh. But anyway, for this video, I just want to focus on talking about the pre-made models and the terrain and the skybox. So obviously here I have a crate. This is the repeating face texture, 6 face texture, so 6 different faces. For pyramid, I just have the repeating one, and then for sphere, this is just the, all of these are lit texture, and then this one is color light. So it's that shader is working as well. Down here I have the 3 cottages. This one is texture flat, this one is color light, and this one is texture light. The blue roof is because I set a different material just on the roof. So these are all working with the multi-mesh, and obviously there's different colors set for each of the meshes and then different textures set for each of the meshes, and they're all the same model but just with different meshes. Okay, I'm just paranoid. And then flat planes. This is a rotating spotlight. There's a point light up top, like up here somewhere. There's a directional light and 2 flat planes. Yes. Close out of there and no leaks. So in terms of the models, sorry, if we go here, when you create a model, using a pre-made model, you just have to pass in the, an enum for whatever thing you're trying to create. In the model, I am using the most recent standard vertex with the normals and the mesh numbers. Do have some warnings here about I have quite a few warnings about not initializing things. In here, it's like U and V are uninitialized, mesh num is uninitialized. I just didn't notice these till like right before I recorded this, and I just don't want to fix it, so I'm sorry. Okay, standard vertex. When you create, here's the enum for all this stuff. When you create a model, you use the model tools, the different functions of the model tools to create whatever thing you are creating if you're doing a pre-made model. So in model tools, I have all the different ways to create all these different pre-made models, and then in the CPP is where you're actually building all the vertices, assigning the correct UV values, the correct normals, yada yada yada. Down here is the sphere, which is most interesting. And yeah. For the terrain, terrain model is how you create the actual model for the terrain, obviously. So here is how you, okay. Okay. Anyway, when you create one, you give it the height map file, length, max height, y trans, repeat u, repeat v. This is where you're actually building all of the vertices, centered at the origin, and then whatever size the user wants. Building all the vertices, then setting all the normals by getting the cross product of all the incident faces, and normalizing, and then building the triangles at the end. So that's how you're making the terrain model based on the height map. And then I have the terrain wrapper class that kind of acts more like a graphics object that holds a pointer to a terrain model, but it also holds a pointer to a texture and the texture light shader, so that when you create one, you can just pass it everything, including the pointer to the texture and the shader. It creates the terrain model that you want, saves that other stuff. Then you can just call render. It'll set the texture to context and render the model for you. Skybox is the other guy. I just put everything in the graphics object like class. So basically, it has a pointer to a shader texture, pointer to the texture that you want, and then a model. The model I actually just build in here, which is the facing inward model, where all the faces are facing inward, so the texture displays on the inside of the cube. So you build that, and then when you call render, you just set the model to context, send the world, which is just it's nothing, it's just the identity matrix, set the texture, and render. So yeah, that just about covers all the models part of things. Later on I'll get into more stuff about the different mesh components. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up this video.